What's going on? It's D-Man. Welcome back to another UFC simulation. In this simulation, we'll be figuring out if the best fighters from the Ultimate Fighter can beat their head coach. Now, this will be pretty fun because we have some bangers in here. We have Forrest Griffin and Chuck Liddell. We'll also have some open weight fights like Kimbo and Quentin Rampage Jackson. And it also might get a little crazy when Yair Rodriguez faces off against his head coach, Cain Velasquez. That's a big weight difference. So in the comments below, let me know what other type of simulations do you want to see. I've been having too much fun with this. I've seen people do it in the 2K community, so now I want to do the same for UFC. If you want to see more, let me know in the comments below, and also drop a like on the video and subscribe if you're new. It'll help me in the algorithm, and it is highly appreciated. For the first simulation, I think it's only right that we start with the Ultimate Fighter 1. We're going to line up the competitor, Forrest Griffin, against his head coach, Chuck the Iceman Liddell. In the Ultimate Fighter 1, Chuck Liddell was the head coach of the blue team. He was coaching against Randy Couture, who would be the head coach of the green team. The Ultimate Fighter 1 finale was one of those fights that put MMA on the map. Forrest Griffin versus Stephen Bonner, legendary brawl. As a matter of fact, the fight was so good that not only did Forrest Griffin get a UFC contract, Stephen Bonner was also offered a UFC contract. So even though Chuck Liddell and Forrest Griffin aren't super high on my GOAT list, I think we have to appreciate their impact and influence when it comes to the UFC. Now let's see if Forrest Griffin can take down his old coach and Chuck Liddell. Forrest Griffin has a lot of heart and a brawler, but Chuck Liddell was a different breed when it came to his striking, legendary Superman punch, and a legendary overhand right.
His opponent's chin held up, but just receiving it of those types of strikes.
I respect Forrest Griffin because he'll make any fight a brawl. He'll make any fight dirty, but getting into that octagon with Chuck the Iceman Liddell might have been too much for him. He got rocked multiple times, and he just could not stand the onslaught that Chuck Liddell put on.
Just a gorgeous shot to end the fight right there.
Respect to Chuck Liddell and Forrest Griffin, a couple of pioneers if you ask me. But according to this simulation, head coach Chuck Liddell was the coach for a reason. In the comments below, let me know if you agree with this simulation. For the next fight, it's time to take it to the streets. We are jumping to the Ultimate Fighter heavyweights, where we were able to watch Kimbo Slice compete against mixed martial artists. In the Ultimate Fighter heavyweights, Quentin Rampage Jackson would be the coach of Kimbo Slice. He was beefing with Rashad Evans in a random door at the time. And to be honest with you, at the time, in 2009, this was peak. It was peak because we had the internet sensation Kimbo Slice jumping into the Ultimate Fighter, which was dope. I think most of us were rooting for him, even though we knew Big Country Roy Nelson was going to run through that series. But I felt like at the time we were all rooting for Kimbo Slice because we've seen the videos, we saw the street fights, and he was a fan favorite for sure. It was also peak because we had two of the most badass fighters on the roster beefing, and Quentin Rampage Jackson and Rashad Evans. Now I wish their fight went a little bit differently. If you don't know, this big old beef ended up being one of the most boring fights of all time. But it is what it is. Now we have Kimbo Slice going against his head coach, Rampage. Let's see what happens. Personally, I believe Rampage will use more of his wrestling background and use that advantage against Kimbo. I mean, that's pretty much what Roy Nelson did. But in this simulation, Rampage went for the takedown, did a little damage, and stood back up. Let's see how that works out for him.
All right, so that opened up a cut around his eye area.
He hasn't moved his head well. You heard him bad.
Oh, and there's that hook again, but this one is blocked.
These guys are trading huge shots. He's got to keep pressing here.
30 seconds to go now.
So let me know what you think in the comments below. Even though there is a weight class difference, I do believe Rampage has a really good chance in winning this fight. In a fight like this, even though Rampage was a brawler, he could get down for sure. I'm not sure if you want to get down with Kimbo, because the thing with Kimbo is he hits hard as hell. I think Rampage would use whatever grappling skills he had against Kimbo in this fight. Kimbo also had a bad knee, a terrible gas tank, and he also had a few years of age on Rampage. And I'm not saying younger fighters are better, but Kimbo was older, and when it comes to the mixed martial arts game, he got started way later. So I think Rampage will have a chance to win this fight, for sure. It just depends on how much of the fight he's willing to take to Kimbo. Will his experience kick in like Roy Nelson, or will he kind of dance around the octagon like Houston Alexander?
That'll do it. Oh my goodness.
Yeah, man, crowd loving it. Just a gorgeous shot there to end the fight. Really just the way he drew it up. He found the opening and capitalized on it to the...
In this simulation, Kimbo knocks out Rampage Jackson. A well-delivered shot from Kimbo is knocking anybody out. He was knocking eyeballs out of sockets, man. This man was dangerous. I will say a brawl between Rampage and Kimbo would be so violent, bro. I'm not even sure if we need to see that, man. It'll be some nonsense going on for sure. So let's go ahead and jump into the next fight. We have the Ultimate Fighter Latin America. For the Ultimate Fighter competitor, we have Yair Rodriguez. Yair is a really unique fighter, really crafty striking. He's so fun to watch. But it'll be interesting to see him face off against his head coach, Cain Velasquez. I told you it might get a little crazy in this video. We have a featherweight matching up against a heavyweight, and not just any heavyweight. We have Cain Velasquez. In his prime, Cain was one of the scariest people on earth. He could finish you on the feet. I'm talking about powerful technical strikes. He'll shut your lights off real quick. And if you happen to go to the ground, oh yeah, say goodbye. You also have Yair Rodriguez, who is a featherweight, really crafty, has some incredible finishes. But I wonder how the game will see this. Do they see this as a brawlic ass heavyweight fighting a featherweight? Or will it all come down to the stats and perks, and the size and the classes won't mean a thing at all? This will be interesting.
Maybe the best strike he's thrown tonight.
The biggest shot that he's landed all night. A massive uppercut range. Oh, yep. Up and the left hand.
That's the throw to the top, and now his opponent in a world of trouble.
Back in the clinch.
That's a second throw right there. DC, he's rocked.
That was a beautiful hook. It landed perfectly.
Here, and as a result, he's had a huge strike right there. I'm not sure how many more of these his opponent can take.
Massive shot that he landed. Great job. Oh, no.
Okay, look, it's not that I want to see Yair get beat up, but it's just like, come on now. If Cain hits a featherweight, he's going to implode them. Simple as that. In my opinion, at least, in my opinion. Once again, in the comments below, let me know, how do you think a fight like this would go? I'm actually interested. Like, how does Yair win this fight against a machine like Cain Velasquez? I was actually surprised that Yair stopped a few of the takedowns, and he definitely took way more shots to the head than he was supposed to. But I think that's more of a UFC 5 problem. Let's go ahead and jump into the next simulation, because this one has a chance to get nasty. We're moving on to the Ultimate Fighter Brazil 3, where Paulo Costa was a contestant. He lost in the elimination round, but I do respect him for coming this far. In the Ultimate Fighter Brazil 3, his head coach was Wanderlei Silva. Once again, Wanderlei Silva is one of the most terrifying people to walk this earth. He was coaching against Chael Sonnen. You know that viral clip, "I can't let you get close"? Yeah, that was from this. If you haven't seen it, you gotta look it up. I would show it, but the UFC does not play it, bro. You can't even post UFC clips on Twitter, bro. I remember one time I live streamed UFC 4, not even UFC 5. I live streamed UFC 4, and they copyright claimed that. Like, bruh, it's a video game. It's not even the actual UFC. But that was a decent season of the Ultimate Fighter, and now we have Paulo Costa in the octagon with Wanderlei Silva. Will Costa hold it down for the tough alumni, or can Silva step in and get a win for the coaches? Let's see what UFC 5 says.
Under 2 minutes to go. A lot of shots to the midsection, and these will take their toll as this fight goes into the last round.
He's hurt. He's wobbling. Oh, my goodness. What a kick. That one landed clean.
So the blood really starting to flow every time that
Apollo knocks out the ass murderer, flatlined him. I honestly don't mind this outcome. I don't. I know the size difference is kind of crazy, but I think Wanderlei was in his prime a long time ago. He was in his prime when I was a kid. And that's a long time ago. I said that to say this. I don't necessarily remember every aspect of Wanderlei's fight game. I just know the basics, the brawling, the Muay Thai. He was very violent, but I think if Apollo got right and they had to match up, I would not be mad at this outcome. What do you think? Let's go ahead and get into the last sim of the video. Once again, this UFC content is very different from what I normally do. I usually do online showcases, but everybody says I'm ass anyway. But let me know in the comments below if you want to see more content like this. I can switch it up, make a blueprint, and post more simulation videos. I saw the 2K community doing this, and I said, you know what? It's time for the UFC community to do this also. I just need to know that you all rock with it before I move forward with more UFC simulations. Maybe I mix in the simulations and online gameplay. So for the last fight, we move over to the Ultimate Fighter Tournament of Champions. This was one of my favorite seasons of the Ultimate Fighter because normally on the Ultimate Fighter, you get a bunch of prospects. But during this season, each one of the competitors on the show were a champion in their respective organizations. The competitors on this show were fighting for the chance to lose to Demetrius Mighty Mouse Johnson. What? Somebody had to say it. Tim Elliott won this season, and yes, he lost. I mean, let's be real, it wasn't happening, all right? It wasn't happening. So with Kai Kara-France, his coach ended up being Henry Cejudo. In my opinion, I still think Henry Cejudo has a strong case of being considered one of the best ever. He is a double champion. He's an Olympic gold medalist. He has victories over Demetrius Mighty Mouse Johnson, TJ Dillashaw, and Dominic Cruz, who are some of the GOATs. And when it comes to the lighter weight classes, he has a significant impact on the sport. He was a coach for a reason. Now, how will he match up with the exciting fight style and the pressure of Kai Kara-France? Let's find out.
Here, postures up now and lands a devastating strike to the head. Man, looking good.
Yeah, it was like all-purpose fighter, right? He would just destroy people, and that's exactly what he looks like right now. He looks like he has been on the receiving end of all the hell.
Henry Cejudo was giving Kai Kara-France that work. I'm talking about on the feet, definitely on the ground. He elbowed him so many times that he turned him into Kakashi. He has the slit down the left side of his face. The doctor had to step in, and in the match, it's over with. Even if this fight didn't end by doctor stoppage, I mean, Henry Cejudo is just beating the brakes off of Kai Kara-France. So Cejudo is going to take one for the coaches. I will say both sides showed up to play today. Both sides did well. We had 3 coaches win, and we had 2 competitors win. Also, this could be part 1 to a series if you guys want it to be. Let me know by dropping a like on the video and leaving a comment. Also, let me know what was your favorite season of the Ultimate Fighter. Thank you all for watching this UFC 5 simulation video. We'll have more on the way for sure. You all be easy and take care. Peace.